Subscribe. Hey, it worked this time. Nintendo Switch 2. It's a thing, and we're gonna talk about it. And it's real. Hey, Devin, how's it going? There was a Nintendo Switch 2 thing they talked about today. Did you watch it?
I did during lunch on my phone.
Nice. I was able to stream it here on the channel. Please go ahead and watch. Mario Kart. It's $80. The Switch 2 is $450. And some games are more expensive than others. Now, Devin, as of the time of this recording, not every pricing information is out there. Because I see people being like, there are going to be $90 video games. That has not been said yet. I don't want to sound like I'm defending and be like, oh, it's fine. However, while people, I think, can be mad and should be mad at $80 Mario Kart, I think people are getting more mad than they need to be. People looking at UK and European Nintendo Store listings and seeing that there is a price differential between the digital and physical versions of Donkey Kong Bonanza and Mario Kart World, people would take those prices, throw them into a currency converter or whatever, and just being like, look, it's $10 more. It's going to be $90 to get a physical version of Mario Kart World. But that's not how prices work. If that was the case, everyone would be like, damn, I should go to Japan because the Switch 2 there is $320. Also, the yen sucks ass. Devin, what do you think of the price of the Nintendo Switch 2? $450 or $500 with an included downloadable version of Mario Kart World?
I think you always want it to be as cheap as possible. I mean, it is still surprising. I mean, the Switch originally, granted that was, 2015?
It was $300 in 2017.
So you're seeing almost a $200 price jump for a console that is, most people play mobily, is my understanding of it. And I think that's what made it sell well, right? It was like, oh, I can play it on the plane, I can play it on the train, whatever it is, right? And I think that's something that PlayStation was trying to do way too early, like with the PSP. And then I remember the PSP was expensive at the time too, if I'm not mistaken. So I don't know. I think with inflation and everything, it's still pretty damn expensive. I was probably not going to get it anyways, and if I do get it, it'll be 5 years from now, kind of how I did the Switch, where I think I got that in 2018, 2019. If I was on the fence, the price point definitely would have taken me off of it. But I think this is being made for the capital G gamer, the Nintendo fans, right? Who are like, I need to play the newest Mario Kart. I need to play the newest Donkey Kong, or I need to play Zelda at 120 FPS, it kind of feels to me like this is their first Pro. I know they don't call it that, but it feels that way, and in a way it feels like they are upcharging on your fandom. It feels like we know you're gonna buy this, so we might as well set it at probably a higher rate than probably what it takes to manufacture it. So that's how I look at it, where I'm like, I'm not surprised. I know some people were talking about Trump's tariffs. I'm sure that doesn't help. And recently, as of 2 days ago, there was the agreement between South Korea, China, and Japan to do joint business together to help fight against United States tariffs. So I could see that being part of it, but I feel like this price point was probably decided before Trump and all that was in power. But still, the yen hasn't been great the last year or so. I think this is their way of trying to. And Nintendo is one of the biggest, companies out of Japan, obviously. For me, I just look at this as there's a lot of factors I think that go into pricing, but it is kind of crappy when it feels like we're heading into a financially not safe world in the United States. But there's, rumors of recessions and whatnot coming up. And I think when you see a $500 thing and it's Christmas time, you already have one of these at home. I'm doing the meme. I'm doing the mom meme where it's just we already have this at home, little Jimmy. $500 is, I don't know, man. I don't know. It's, if I was, like I said, if I was on the fence, I think that would have taken me off of it.
Yeah, and $500 is apt because guess what? You're going to buy Mario Kart. That's why it's at launch, and that's why it's $80, is because they know you're going to buy. You're going to buy a Switch 2, you're not going to buy Mario Kart. You bought a Switch 1 and you didn't buy Mario Kart? More than half of the people that... I think even more than 2/3 of the Switch owners own Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. They knew right off the bat, hey, whatever we were planning price-wise or anything like that, we're going to use this Mario Kart game to offset if we needed to sell this at a loss, potentially, due to, I don't know how they were playing, maybe ahead of time. Like, we bundle it in, we charge at a price where we can make our money back. I will say for the $450 system, yeah, inflation, all that, this is the highest MSRP Nintendo's ever launched a system at. $350 for the Switch OLED model. I believe ties the Wii U. When the Wii U launched, it had I'm pretty sure it was $300 and $350, with the $350 being 32 gigabytes instead of 8, and it came with Nintendo Land, which we promptly got myself banned from Miiverse using. Like 2 months after I got the system. So this is already expensive. I think the Super Nintendo was $200 back in the day, and GameCube might have been $250. Wii was historically $250 when its competition was twice that price. That being said, I look at this like, okay, this is literally the Switch 2. It is an iteration on the Switch. And Moore's Law is dead. Things in technology aren't getting cheaper at the same rate. It's stagnant. Some things are going up in price due to tariff situation, but also just cost of manufacturing and whatnot is kind of going up because the economy isn't great in a lot of places in the world. So I look at this and be like, okay, there was rumors a long time ago of a Switch Pro. There were reporters that say that was real. Something happened and Nintendo canceled it. Maybe they read the tea leaves and said, hey, if we make this system, what would our next actual console be like? How would we differentiate that, and how would we price it? I look at this and I'm like, $450 does a few things. Number one, it allows the Nintendo Switch models to stay at the prices that they're at. This not being $300 means that they're not discounting the original Nintendo Switch. Means that they're not discounting the Nintendo Switch Lite, which is $200, which is a great deal now if you look at it for a kid. And the OLED Switch is still going to be $350. They might stop making maybe Switch 1s and just keep the OLED and the Switch Lite. They might do stuff like that, and they don't need to discount it. The only thing is then like, all right, so with the next console is, what's that going to be? $650? Like, you can't just keep going up without ever dropping down, to be fair. But it does that. They're looking at this being like, okay, you can look at your regular Nintendo Switch. This is the same thing, but more powerful. That would be about the same price, you would imagine, 8 years later as the thing you paid before. But this thing has a better screen. I am shocked at the 120 hertz. I'm shocked at the HDR. I'm shocked at the VRR, the variable refresh rate. It's 1080p, which is going to hurt the battery life, and I don't think we really needed it. I would actually have been fine with 720. But it's a better value proposition of look, this is a more powerful console, but the screen is a whole lot better. We have two USB-C ports on the thing, so that yes, you can charge it from the top and hook accessories in the thing, and there's a patent for being able to dock another screen on the top. They're never going to do that, guys. They're never going to be a DS thing for having two switches docked like that on each other. The fact that the Joy-Cons are nicer now and all this stuff is it's the same thing, but it feels a lot more premium in how they're doing it. The dock has a fan for it, so it helps it cool, which means it can actually run hotter and work harder. All that type of stuff going in there, it's okay, it isn't just the same thing. I could look at my PlayStation 5, which I got at launch for $500, and be like, this is effectively a PlayStation 4 that was made for 2020. It's the same thing, but better. And it's charged $100 more because of the way the economy is, and Sony wants to be able to charge more for that. For this Nintendo Switch, at the very least, I'm it doesn't feel the same. This feels like a much more premium device. There are some things about this thing that I'm actually shocked about. I'm shocked it can do 4K. We're not going to get 8K consoles or PC games or video content for another 10 years minimum. That's just not happening. So Nintendo's in a position where, like, hey, their system can output that, and like they're parity with everyone else. Things might not be as powerful. Cyberpunk's probably not going to look as good as it does maybe even on the Steam Deck versus the PlayStation 5 versus an actual PC that's powerful, but they all will output at 4K. So I'm okay with the price. I can accept the price. The price makes sense to me. What I don't like is the creep in price on the software, on the actual video games.
To actually use the thing,
Yeah.
at the end of the day. Like, you need the gasoline for the car,
Right.
Like, the car could be nice, but if the gas is expensive, it kind of sucks.
I want to ask you about that, but I first want to just say Mario Kart World is $80 because they know they can get away with it, and the Housen brothers at Rockstar are like, yep, Grand Theft Auto 6 is going to be at least $90. We're going to do it.
Make it a flat 100, make it easy.
Why not? But that's Mario Kart 8 is $80, or Mario Kart World is $80 because they can. And my other sneaky secret thing, and I want to hear your thoughts on this, Devin, because I see people being like, oh, all the games are going to be 80 digital, 90 physical, blah, blah, blah. Donkey Kong Bonanza is $70. That game, in the eyes of Nintendo, the people making it, is at the same level as Mario Kart in terms of the effort they put into it, what it stands for. This is going to be a system like Mario Kart. This is the Mario Odyssey for the Switch 2. You know what I mean? This is going to be this cool. This is our big 3D platformer in our year one that we will sell for 8 years. Like, this is the same value proposition. I've used that phrase a lot. But it's $10 cheaper, and here's my sneaky suspicion why. Switch 2 comes out. Let's say you get it, day one, year one. Let's say you get it year two. You're going to get Mario Kart probably with it. Just most people are. They're going to want to get Mario Kart with it. $80 is a lot. Now Nintendo's conditioned you to think $70 is a sale, is a deal, is a good price. 2 years ago, Nintendo was like, hey, this Zelda game we spent a fuck ton of money on, we would like $70 because it is literally a much more of a premium video game than anything else we've made on this system. Can we please sell it for $70? And everyone was like, that's crazy. I was like, that's weird. Well, now $70 looks like it's a deal compared to Mario Kart, because Mario Kart doesn't feel like it should be $80, no matter what's with it. But what do you think about the pricing of the games?
I mean, GameStop is probably on its way out, but maybe this will help GameStop live a couple more extra years, because they're like, hey, you can get that used, or you can, trade in and all that to get that 70 down to 60 again. It might feel a little bit better. I wonder if we'll get because it's not really a thing anymore. People don't rent games much anymore. But maybe that's gonna happen again, because of these games are like, do I want this? Do I want to spend full price on this, or can I rent it for $20 at just maybe Netflix or something? Whatever. Not Netflix is a joke, but you know what I mean. Netflix at one point did have, I think, games, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe I'm thinking of GameFly.
They're still around, by the way.
But yeah, but I'm saying maybe that's going to be an uptick, or gaming just becomes what I think it is becoming, which is just an expensive hobby. I think you had the COVID boom, right, where everyone was like, I'm super bored, I'm going to get into gaming. I can guarantee you most people who that was their first time getting into gaming, cool, whatever, I can guarantee you those people have their Switches with Animal Crossing or whatever is probably collecting dust right now. So I feel like their goal with this is just, like I said, I really believe it's just to sell to the Nintendo fans. And I'll say this, if you're upset about any of the price points, the console, the games, my thing is like, the only way you stop it from continuing to go up and doing the little, and I agree with you, I think it is kind of a cheap thing to be like, hey, we'll charge 80 for this to make it that 70 sound better. Don't buy it. I know gamers. It's tough. But like, legitimately, if let's say half the people who would have bought it decide, hey, we're not going to buy this like out of protest, they might actually drop it down to 70 or 60, back to 60 again. But the issue is, I agree with you. I think this gives permission to Rockstar or even the other console makers to be like, I'm going to remember this next time we do the PlayStation 6. I might charge $90 for Bloodborne Remastered that you finally wanted. you know. And I remember back in, I mean, we were very young in the 90s, so we don't remember this, but like directly, but we know about it, is that gaming even up into the 90s was an expensive hobby. And I feel like we're kind of going back to that. It became very accessible with like the PS2 and Xbox and all that, and the Game Boy,
with discs,
you know,
CDs, yeah.
Yeah, so like it got more easier for people, but like I feel like since the like 2015, 2016, when games jumped to $60, and then all of a sudden it feels like it's going up quicker than it was prior. I feel like gaming is, maybe this is the start of gaming, because of once the economy is also rough on top of this, but like this might be the start of gaming becoming once again hey, you gotta really love this, or you gotta be okay with having your Switch for another 5 years. Like, right. You know what I mean? Or having that I know people who still have PS4s, and I'd be like, yeah, I don't blame you. Like, it's expensive, and if you're only playing it, shit, dude, like, we do this channel, but like outside of this channel, I play Counter-Strike is most of my gaming, you know what I mean? And that's an old game at this point. But like, I feel like, yeah, unless you're like really into like the specs like you were talking about, it makes sense. But if you're the mom and dad trying to get their kid something for Christmas, I don't know, man.
Right. And like, they have a chokehold, because guess what? That kid's gonna want Mario Kart. They can't play on the new Switch. That they're gonna see the Donkey Kong. They're gonna see, like, in next year or the year after, when the Mario sequel movie comes out. Man, Donkey Kong's funny. I want that Donkey Kong game. Just better buy that system. I've always theorized that the reason why prices for games didn't increase when PS4 and Xbox One came out is because all those publishers weren't sure. People don't maybe not remember. Mobile gaming shook publishers into thinking that perhaps, because PC gaming was kind of in a shit spot for that entire generation prior, that like maybe dedicated PC gaming and dedicated consoles for gaming, maybe that's just not the future anymore. So like, you know, that's why those consoles were very conservative in their prospects. They weren't like shooting for the moon. You know, and that's why I always thought that, okay, they kept 60 there because, like, well, if we charge more, then yeah, we are just going to drive everyone away. And you're right that, like, it feels like it's gone up a lot quicker lately, because, like, not every PS5 game is $70, because a lot of them are on PS4, because there's people like you described, and they know, like, well, I mean, shoot, all these games are scalable these days. You can make a PS4 version of this game you say is only possible on PS5, you know what I mean, right. An Xbox Series X. You can do it. How much money do you want to put in it? They put Doom Eternal on the Switch. The Switch 1. Like, you can scale any game down. It's just how much do you want to do the cuts, and that costs money to do. So it's just, you know, how much money you're going to put into it, right? So it feels like we just barely got $70 games, and then now Nintendo's like $80 for Mario Kart. Now, granted, that Mario Kart looks awesome, and it's bigger improvement than what I thought, a bigger scope than what I thought they were going to do, for sure. I don't see $80 out of that, though, but maybe I'm wrong. In a couple weeks, they're going to have a direct just about Mario Kart, so we're going to learn more there. But, yeah, I mean, like, my other big thing about the pricing is that they have these Nintendo Switch 2 editions of a bunch of Nintendo Switch 1 games. And it's a little confusing, because all the information we have is what was in the Direct and then on their website, right? Which is kind of updating as the day has gone by. So there are
interesting, by the way. Usually you have everything ready to go, and then you drop
and then
the
like
announcement.
The European version has has different information, and this people are you know, that's where people get this $90 figure from, is because they're taking that, and the euro value for PlayStation 5 and other consoles is higher than the dollar value. They just get fucked over there. We can say $90 is probably not going to happen here, but the equivalent is happening over there. I'm sorry.
And it's been that way for some time. It sucks to be a European game.
Everyone. With these Nintendo Switch 2 editions of the games, there's a couple games that are like, cool. Mario Party Jamboree. I got that last year. It's a lot of fun. Hey, Nintendo Switch 2 edition adds two new modes and a bunch of mini games. It looks like they want about $20 for that. Actually, yes, the pricing, I believe, just went up. They want, I believe, $80 for that. For, like, the whole thing, if you were to buy the game with the thing. Okay, $80. But for like me and you already have the game, it's a $20 thing. That makes sense because there's new content in it. That's an expansion. There's the Kirby game, which I actually kind of want to play. Maybe I'll play it on Switch 2 now. Yeah, it's a higher frame rate and resolution. Mario Party is going to be 1440p on a TV with those new modes. This Kirby thing has a new story expansion to it. They also want $20. Fair enough. Both the Zelda games, Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, they want $10 in addition on that. And all it is, really, is higher resolution and frame rate. They did not specify because I doubt that it's consistent. I'm sure the way that open world works, things fluctuate a lot, so they don't want to say a target. But they want $10 for essentially what's like just uncap the frame rate and raise the resolution cap in your thing, which like a bunch of PS4 and Xbox One games got patched to do that on their new consoles. Be like, hey, just raise the cap. I played The Last of Us Part 2 at 60 frames per second years before they made me pay for it, you know what I mean? Like, because that's just what they did, right? To see that, be like, oh yeah, but we have some stupid GPS second screen app. You can have Zelda's voice tell you to go north to pick up a piece of golden poop. Whatever.
That was
I'm never gonna use that.
Strange. I'm like, why does he have a smartphone? Like, doesn't feel right.
Whatever. That's another 2014 era PS4 Xbox One thing of like Smart Glass, the Xbox app for second screen experiences. So that's kind of shitty. But if you're a Nintendo Switch Online Plus expansion pack subscriber, you get those 2 Nintendo Switch Edition upgrades for free. So like if I resubscribe, then I can play Tears of the Kingdom at 60 frames per second or whatever. But then you look at like Metroid Prime 4 and Pokemon Legends ZA, 2 games that are launching after the system comes out, and they haven't given prices for either of those games yet normally for Switch 1. But like, are they going to charge more? Because in the case of both of those, it's like, cool, Pokemon 4K 60 on the television. Gonna blow my mind to play Pokemon in 4K and at a frame rate that isn't 30, because I don't think any 3D political Pokemon game has been higher than 30, if 30 at all. And Metroid is like, yeah, 4K 60 or 1080p at 120 frames per second on the TV. That's insane. And you get the stupid mouse thing. I think the mouse thing is a gimmick. But like those seem like, okay, they're calling them Nintendo Switch 2 editions because those games haven't come out yet, even though all the things that they're really doing is frame rate and resolution and mouse for Metroid. But then they also said, oh yeah, here's just a bunch of Switch 1 games that are going to get patched or free updated to then use the better performance. And they showed Pokemon Scarlet and Violet games that ran like shit on the Switch. And like, I imagine the way they word things, they're not gonna charge for those. So I'm looking at I have this Wario 64 thing. I'm going to put it up on the screen here so folks at home can see. Devin, you're just going to have to imagine. But there's this Wario 64 listing. All these, like, I think it was Best Buy listings. The Switch, the version with Mario Kart, and you see, like, $80 Mario, $70 Donkey Kong, $80 Kirby, $80 Mario Party, $80 Tears of the Kingdom, $70 Breath of the Wild, because Tears of the Kingdom was $10 more than normal $60 games. It was $70 because they have the listings for all these Nintendo Switch 2 upgrades on there, and now you're looking at a store page that says $80 is about what you're going to pay, maybe $70, and it's like, man, are we going to see $60?
We're feeling
games?
nice. You get a $70 game.
Again, like Donkey Kong being $70 feels like I had that thought of like, oh, it's only $70. Only 70! Oh my god! And like, yeah, I'm gonna get it. It comes out in July. It looks like it's gonna be a lot of fun. But that's my thing about the pricing is just, I don't know. We spent this whole time so far talking about pricing. I don't know. What do you think about this?
I mean, I'm not a Nintendo hater, but I've critiqued Nintendo on our podcast, Sonic Movie Show, in the past. Where I don't like when companies, but we're under capitalism, so I should preface with that, obviously. But if you're a believer in brands and companies, I don't know how you don't see that you're being taken advantage of. That's what this feels like. This feels like we know you're gonna pay dude, the Switch 2 could have been $600, and there'd be still a good amount of people who are like, I can rationalize that.
Well, it's going to last me 8 years.
Yeah, $100 a year or whatever, right? So, and then with the games, I feel like they're just saying like, what's $10 more? That's how it always goes. That's how it always goes. I mean, and this goes with like a lot of things. That's how subscription services are like.
That's how
too,
groceries have gone.
Right, where it's like, can we charge 30 cents here and there? Can we charge, you know, or with Netflix, it's like you can stay at that price, but there's going to be ads now. But if you pay $1 extra, you get no ads, right? Everything is a subscription now, and they're clearly doing this with, you know, Nintendo Online and stuff. With being like, oh, you want to get these extra things? Well, you can pay for the subscription. Yeah, it's only $20 a year, but I can guarantee you it's going to go up once that Switch 2 come out, because there'll be more features. You know, there's always this promise of more features and more specs, and you know, I just want to point out that Nintendo is no different. Like, I know, like, they're the family-friendly, good brand, and like they're one of the few gaming companies that doesn't fully shit on its workers. You know, but at the end of the day, it's like, let's remember what their goal is. Their goal is to make money, and their way of doing that is like they have an aesthetic. They have they focus on their Marios, their Donkey Kongs, their Kirbys, their Metroids, and you name it. And I don't know. I really want to point that out, that like they're no different. Like, everyone gets mad about Microsoft, or like the last couple years they've been trying to rebound because they seem to lost the console war. At this point, it's pretty much, I feel like they've accepted their fate. It feels like, more than anything. They're like, we're just going to focus on Game Pass, and maybe we'll do consoles in a kind of every 2 to 3 year basis. Like, there's just going to be a pro of everything. And even Sony's done that, right? To a certain degree now. Like, there's already the PS5 Pro, which blows my mind. I feel like we just got the PS5 and we're already doing a Pro. But I don't know. I feel like this is, like, Nintendo's no different at the end of the day. Like, they're trying to do different gimmicks. It feels like iPhone, where they're like, oh, this one's made of titanium this time. Like, they have the camera, and all of it's cool. Don't get me wrong, but it's like, how much of that are we going to use? How much of that are you really going to use? You just want to play Mario Kart. At the end of the day, like, are you going to have your 4 friends on the screen at the same time? No. Like, it's cool. Don't get me wrong. They did a great ad for it. I actually, for one of the rare times where they have actors playing games with each other, it felt way more realistic than the ones we've seen at the Game Awards in the years past, or the E3s, where like they're talking like they're military operatives. Like, no one talks like that. This one at least felt way more believable. So they did a good ad. I'll give them credit for that. But at the end of the day, it's like, this is just another kind of gimmick. This just, to me, just shows that Nintendo's no different. And I feel like, I don't know, if I was a diehard Nintendo fan who's like, I want to get the new console, I kind of would feel a little bit like, really though? You're really going to make me do this? And that goes back to my other point I said earlier, which is, if you're upset with the pricing, the only way you can stop it, the only chance you have, is if you and other consumers vote with your wallet, so to speak, and you don't buy it, and you wait. You be okay with that. If you aren't okay with that, then they will keep doing this, and the prices won't get any cheaper. I mean, that's just how it is.
Yeah, I agree with you. The one time that I recognize that has happened to Nintendo in the past, where they wanted to sell a device for higher than the market was willing to pay for it, was the Nintendo 3DS. When that system launched, it was $250. I had it pre-ordered. We were in high school at the time, or was just about entering. No, we were in high school at the time. And 3 months later, they dropped the price of the Nintendo 3DS from $250 to $180.
That's a big jump.
No, $170. They dropped it by $80. That's 2 games, because they were like $40 at the time. For the handheld games. And I was like, damn, I have my launch unit still. It's over there. Here's a photo of me with it. Enjoy the photo. I have other ones here. Look at my Animal Crossing one. Look at Look at my Metroid one. See, I have my Metroid one, and I have a Zelda one over there too. Here's a photo of me with it. So I bought all of those, right? I only own the one Switch though, because that was $300, and I never got a Switch OLED, and never got the Switch Lite or anything like that. I don't really know if we're possible as a society to vote with our wallets. I saw someone on Twitter the other day, maybe it was Bluesky, I'm a commie, I use both, who said, like, to paraphrase them, they said, like, the biggest, they used the word treatification. It's a made-up nomenclature that they said, but it encapsulates everything. It is the private limo for your burrito, aka ordering something off DoorDash. It is, all the little things that were like, I need just something for me. Just something for me. That, society, capitalism, etc. has, like, made, like, life sucks. Buy a convenience to make life better. You know what I mean? Has done all of this, so, like, we are just, conditioned to be like, yeah, but, like, the personal carbon footprint, I guess I'll buy this, you know what I mean? Like, it is that personal carbon footprint of, like, the problem can be solved by the people causing it, but they've conditioned you into thinking it's everyone's job to do a little bit better, and boy howdy, you just want to buy Mario Kart. It's 80, who cares? You only buy it once, and, you save $30 if you get it with the system. You're practically pulling one over on us. Why not?
Right. It's always this idea that, like, the company's unaware of the savings they're providing you. That's always the I mean, it's a classic gimmick where, like you said, oh, we're practically giving it to you for free, man. Like, oh, that really sucks for us.
Stay tuned for part 2. We talk about the games. 2. Subscribe. Let's try it again. I will just wait an extra beat. So you don't. Okay. You just do what you did, and I will wait an extra beat. All right, because the Discord delay. 5, 4, 3, 2. Subscribe. We're so close. Let's try it again. One more time.
Okay. It's gonna be tough.
You just keep doing what you're doing. I'm gonna try to delay to meet you. All right. My arm's getting tired. 5, 4, 3, 2.